Gary, you're full of shit, man. You scream about the elephants being killed in the circus and you eat dead pigs every day, dead cows. What's the fucking difference? Get the fuck out of here. And I was like other stupid, uninformed, ignorant people. No, it's different. No, it's different. They're meant for food and the elephants are so majestic. So it was weighing on me more and more. I didn't really obviously have a good comeback because there is none. And the more you investigate this, the more you realize there's no other choice to make if you're going to think clearly and logically. But what did it was 1995. Sports fan, my hometown hockey team, the Detroit Red Wings, have an absurd tradition that's been going on since the 60s, maybe the 50s, of throwing dead octopuses on the ice during a playoff game. Now, I'll tell you why they did it, not justify it or make sense, but here's some history. Some schmuck way back 50 years ago says, oh, we have to win 8 games in the playoffs to win the Stanley Cup championship. So I'm going to throw the octopus as 8 tentacles, and the 8's going to symbolize the 8 wins. Absurd. That's just some history of where it started. It actually went away in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Well, 70s and 80s, it was virtually non-existent. Early 90s, somebody finds an old article in some archives and remembers that we used to throw octopuses. So they started throwing them in the 90s again. But it wasn't just one schmuck in the crowd throwing one octopus. The Red Wings started advertising and promoting it. They started selling octopus paraphernalia, t-shirts and hats, and the Detroit Free Press, our newspaper, started having the octometer in the sports section where they would rank how the players played in the playoffs. And everything was octopus oriented. They were encouraging people to bring the octopuses on the ice. A little side note, what was really, I guess, hysterical was that the players hated it. Players hated it because it stopped the game for 5 to 15 minutes as they had to clean the octopus and the blood and the guts off the ice, and they ruined the momentum because they basically throw the octopuses after they scored a goal. And momentum is a lot in sports. Without going into a sports lesson, you ruin momentum, you ruin a lot. So the players hated it. But the fans are in their own world and they're doing it. And now they're throwing 50 octopuses every night. I found out where they were doing it, who was supplying it, a place called the Superior Fish Company in Royal Oak. And he said that in the 1995 playoffs is just when it really hit me the most, that he sold 4,000 pounds of octopuses during the playoffs. Marine animals, as everybody knows, are so worthless to everybody. We don't even count them individually, they're by weight. So I can't tell you how many, but 4,000 pounds seems like a lot. Even if it was one, it's wrong. So I call up a radio station, WDFN in Detroit, 11:30. The host's name was Greg Henson. By the way, that radio station's still on. That disc jockey is still on the air on a different station. He created me, and he doesn't know that he created me. I didn't know how to talk back then. It was 95. I was a screamer. I was a ranter, and I got on the air and I just said, "This is absurd. What's next? The Detroit Tigers are going to throw dead tigers on the field. The San Jose Sharks are going to throw dead sharks in the field." And I started naming every team with an animal mascot I could think of. Well, what's next? I'm going to throw dead. And just rambling. And he stops me about a minute into my ramble and he says, Gary, hold on. What'd you have for dinner last night? Now, I knew what he meant. I've been avoiding it for 2 years now. Now, one of my best traits besides fearlessness is that I never lie. Everybody knows this because the truth I speak gets me in trouble. I say shit that nobody, I speak the truth. Well, I freaked out at that time and I did something I never do. I lied. And I said a salad to show you how much I knew about veganism, vegetarian, like everyone else, a salad. Now, instantly I feel fucking horrible, terrible, hurt that I lied, especially because he backed off. I now had the upper hand. He didn't expect that. And to his credit, as much as I disagree with his philosophy, he acknowledged that he lost that comment and backed off. And let me go on for another minute. And he felt so beat by that. At the end, he says to me, as I'm winding down, "Gary, is there anything else you'd like to say?" I'm just, oh my God, I can't believe I lied. How many thousands of people just heard me lie? This is terrible. How can I do that? This is in my head, of course. And I say on the air now to Greg, no, Greg, that's it. That'll be on the air. And that's a lot of time on the air. 2 to 3 minutes uninterrupted, pretty much. And as I hung up the phone, as the phone hung up, by the way, yes, I was using a real phone back in the day. As I hung up the phone, before it hit the console, I said, that is the shortest lived lie ever. I'm done. Make up for that lie right now, and I never touched a piece of meat again. Now, unfortunately, I didn't know veganism necessarily, but that moment, on the way down, I made up for the lies. Now it's not a lie. It's over. It was over. And quick story is the next year there's a huge march for animals in Washington, D.C. 10,000 people supposed to go there. I went by myself. I couldn't find one friend, family member, anyone to go with me to want to learn the truth. I went by myself. I go early thinking, oh, it's going to be great, right? I show up 2 days early. No one's fucking there. I'm sitting in a hotel in the lobby waiting for other animal rights people, like looking for shirts. This is terrible. Finally, 2 days pass and the conference is starting now. A group of people from Texas walk in, about 20 people. It says Texans for Animal Rights in their shirt. I jump up right away. The first group of people, I said, hey everybody, my name's Gary, I'm from Michigan. I'm here for the conference too. Hey Gary, how you doing? Blah, blah. Hey, we're really starving and we're getting a good burger run. I'm like, yes, the Hard Rock Cafe right down the street has a great veggie burger. It's so good. But Gary, that burger's not vegan. It's got cheese in it. I said, so? They said, what do you think happens to cows when they can't get milk anymore? Oh. That was that. This is why I get upset with the fighting. Because, yeah, I didn't know, but I listened.
Yeah.
And I said, so that was it. So the Texans may be vegan, which I don't know who they are, but that Greg Henson host, he challenged me, and that was it. Now I wanted to all these years.
You had gone to the slaughterhouse though in between.
Oh, I had.
Okay.
I'm still a stubborn motherfucker. I went 6 weeks to the slaughterhouse after the circus. That was just the story that's out.
2 years.
Well, maybe I didn't tell that story. After the circus, I went to Thornapple Valley Pig Slaughterhouse in Detroit for 6 weeks straight to see what was going on, and cried every fucking moment I was there for 2 to 6 hours every day because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Why people said, why would you go every day? I couldn't believe what I saw yesterday. No, they're not really killing live pigs. They didn't really shove a poker in that pig's eye and force him down the chute to the killing floor. That's not what I saw yesterday. And I went back, I'm like, oh my God, and I'm heartbroken. I mean, I was walking, when I got back home, I would shoulders slumped, and my mom or Darren would see me and go, man, what's wrong? Were you at the slaughterhouse again today? Why are you going there? I can't believe what's going on. But the stubborn dick that I was, like everyone else, and propaganda made, and society made me a robot. I just couldn't stop. I knew it was evil and wrong until I was put on the spot. I don't know. It was challenged. It was a challenge that got me. Maybe that's why I do challenges over the years. Maybe that's why I kind of speak the same way Greg spoke to me. What'd you have for dinner last night? Like,
Yeah.
now what?
Yeah.
What you gonna do now? What's your excuse now? So I wanted to get, one of these days I'm gonna get an elephant tattoo on this arm and an octopus on the backside, and I want the tentacle to come around and wrap around the elephant's trunk somehow. Those are the two animals that did it. And of course, my dog's always factored in, like, I would do anything for them.
Yeah.
But those two creatures are the ones that got me. I love octopus.
Anymore, aren't they? The octopus has stopped.
It's
right?
pretty much stopped to a point where there's just one or two assholes, and while it's still evil, I never really got involved. They weren't promoting it, and 50 a night. I mean, they were walking in a Joe Louis arena with 100-pound, 150-pound octopuses in duffel bags. They were just walking. Why are you allowing people to bring dead animals to a sporting event? And what it did is, to this day, it's actually caused other teams to do stupid shit. The Florida Panthers for a couple of years were throwing dead rats on the ice. The Vancouver Canucks were throwing dead whitefish on the ice. And the Nashville Predators now throw dead catfish on the ice during the playoffs. So it is what I said was true. Well, what's next? They go throw a dead time.
Yeah.
I knew where it would go. And what's so absurd is all these sports teams claim that they pick a mascot, to honor that mascot, and then you
That's how you honor them.
that's how you honor it, by killing them, or say this is our lucky animal, but it's a dead animal that was murdered. I mean, there are times, I think in baseball this year, some squirrel ran across the field and then the team won the game, so they're like, yay, the squirrel, and they love the squirrels now, and everything's positive. And there was actually a goose at the Detroit Tiger Stadium this year that landed on the field, and they were just trying to shoo him away, and he flew into the billboard and fell. It was horrifying to watch, but they went and they saved him. There was a vet in the crowd. The veterinarian got there, took him to a vet clinic, and after 2 weeks, they released him again. And it's always usually positive if an animal intervenes in the game, not the dead catfish and dead whitefish and dead rats and dead octopuses. 3 out of those 4 creatures I mentioned are marine animals who have it the worst.
Yeah.
Always. No one has it worse than a marine animal. And they don't even get counted. They're not even worthy. I mean, the land animals aren't worthy enough to even be named. The marine animals aren't worthy to be named or to even be counted. Weigh them. Those are some of the coolest creatures. Octopuses, man. I'd love to pet an octopus one day too. The giraffe and the sloth, I think, are feasible. I'm not so sure about the octopus. But I feel like I'd be like, hey. When I was in Hawaii last year, I'm like, oh, I hope I see an octopus. Oh my god. I don't think so, unfortunately. I know, I'm a fucking carnivore animal. But they're such tricked out creatures.
Imagine getting a hug from an octopus with 8 tentacles.
There was an octopus, I think, from an aquarium in New Zealand a couple years ago. He just vanished. And they found that he had climbed up the aquarium thing, pushed open the lid, crawled out, like Shawshank Redemption. They found an octopus slime down a little drain. And that they can make their huge bodies fit into this drain was this big. And and it went right to the ocean. And he's gone. He knew, just like Morgan Freeman in Shawshank, there's my road, or Tim Robbins, there's 400 yards of freedom, and that 400 yards of shit to freedom, and that octopus went, man. He made it.